And good evening to all. My name is Deborah Dixon, and I'm the president of the Solano Napa chapter of Black Women Organized for Political Action, BWOPA. This evening, BWOPA is honored to join our partners, the Solano Valley Alumni and the Vallejo Alumni chapters of Delta Sigma Theta Sorority, Inc., in welcoming you, our viewing audience, and the candidates who have joined this forum. We are proud to present this information as a service to our community and in a nonpartisan manner. This forum is one way that BWOPA furthers our commitment. Founded in 1968, BWOPA is a statewide 501c4 nonprofit advocacy and membership organization. BWOPA's mission is to activate, motivate, promote, support, educate, train, and involve as many African American women as possible to get involved in the political process, to protect voting rights, and to enfranchise the Black community. BWOPA women are trailblazers. Our members include Vice President Kamala Harris, Congresswoman Barbara Lee, and our very own chapter member, Assemblywoman Lori Wilson, who is also chair of the California Legislative Black Caucus. So on behalf of BWOPA, I welcome you, and I hope that the information presented will help you become more informed when you vote between now and Tuesday, November the 8th. Again, welcome and thank you all.
Good evening. My name is Lisa Grant Dawson, and I'm the president of the Solano Valley Alumni chapter of Delta Sigma Theta Sorority, Incorporated. Our service area is Fairfield, Cordelia, Vacaville, Travis Air Force Base, Dixon, and Rio Vista. We are pleased to partner with the Black Women's Organized for Political Action, and we have as our thrust in our sorority, political action and awareness, which brings us to you this evening. So along with our sisters from the Vallejo Alumni chapter, we are very pleased to host this event to allow you, our community and constituents, the opportunity to hear from the candidates throughout the entire county. We want you to have the opportunity to be an informed voter and to support what in California we have as supportive rights for voters to be able to make their decisions based on their independent thinking, views, needs. And we, at this time, will now turn it over to my sorority sister, Dr. Dela Morris, president of the Vallejo Alumni chapter.
Thank you, Lisa. Good evening. My name is Dr. Dela Morris, and I am the president of the Vallejo Alumni chapter of Delta Sigma Theta Sorority, Incorporated. Our service territory covers American Canyon, Benicia, and Vallejo. On behalf of the Vallejo Alumni chapter members, I would like to welcome you to the 2022 Solano Countywide Virtual Candidates Forum. Tonight's event is designed to promote and encourage political responsibility through citizens-informed and active participation in government. Our organizations are fair, nonpartisan, and unbiased. So as a result, we are doing our part to provide opportunities for candidates seeking office to bring their platforms directly to the voters. To the candidates, thank you for your time, and we wish you all the best. I would now like to introduce to you our moderator extraordinaire for this evening, Dr. Lakeithia Lake Pasqua, second vice president of the Vallejo Alumni chapter of Delta Sigma Theta Sorority, Incorporated. Dr. Lake Pasqua.
Thank you, Dr. Morris. So you know, all candidates throughout the county were invited to participate in this forum. And next, I'll briefly provide the House rules. Each candidate will have 2 minutes for an initial introduction, and then we will go into our question and answer period. Each candidate will have 30 seconds to respond for each question. Our technical moderator and timekeepers will let you know when your time is up. Good evening. To start us off, we have our Vacaville City Council candidates. We have Dr. Sarah Chapman running for District 4 City Council, and Jeanette Wiley running for District 6 City Council. Welcome. We will start off by having each of you provide a 2-minute introduction. Dr. Chapman, I will start you off first.
Thank you. I am a longtime resident of Vacaville with a spirit to serve, and I consider myself a servant leader. My children, along with many teenagers in Solano County foster care system, were nurtured and educated here in Vacaville. For 18 years, I was an active member of Vacaville Unified School District Governing Board, and the past 10 years, I have been a member of Solano Community College Governing Board, where I was instrumental, along with my colleagues, in making the college a place where students enjoyed learning and employees enjoyed working. For 10 years, I was the ombudsman for Solano County Youth Services Division. And for the aforementioned many years working in the government sector, I have attained much knowledge and communication skills that would be instrumental in complementing the council and providing the needed services to the people of Vacaville. I am running to be the voice of the people, specifically District 4, where I will be their first elected representative to the city council. Aside from my education, aside from my experience and skill sets, I have a bachelor's degree in business administration accounting, a master's in public administration, human resource management, and a doctorate, a PhD in public policy and administration. Thank you.
Thank you. Ms. Wiley?
Yes, I am Jeanette Wiley, and I am currently serving on the Vacaville City Council. I was elected in 2020 when we first went to districts. And so I've been on 2 years, and I feel like I've learned a lot about the city and all the issues. So I am running for re-election. There are 3 other people running, so I'm working very hard to keep my seat, and have enjoyed support from a lot of people, including just quite a few of the people from the district, outside the district, teachers unions and labor. And I'm looking forward to see if I can get BWOPA's endorsement, because you did endorse me in 2020. And at that time when I was knocking doors, I talked to people about who were interested in becoming more involved. And I did share some contact information with other residents in Vacaville at that time. I have been in Vacaville for 30 years. And I'm a retired teacher. And during that time I was teaching, I was president of the teachers union as well. So I felt like I worked hard with a lot of people and have ability to collaborate as well. There are, I have things, I really feel like it's important to hear from the residents. And when we went to districts, it allowed us to be able to have a voice for the people in District 6, which really weren't represented before. I kept a liquor store from getting in our neighborhood because people were working together for that. I had a community cleanup day. I am very interested in women in leadership. I am the only woman on the city council. There's 6 men. I'm the only senior on city council. And I feel like the voice of both of those women and seniors need to be represented. I'm for strong families. I'm interested in helping people that need to be helped. And it seems like
Your time has ended.
Okay, sorry. That's it.
Thank you. So we'll start with our first question, and we'll start just for providing our viewers with an overview. Vacaville is a general law city as opposed to a charter city with a city manager, council form of government. Vacaville has a 7-member council, 6 council districts, and 1 at-large council member, and an at-large mayor. So our question to both candidates is, as a member of the Vacaville City Council, what do you understand would be your role and duty as a council member? And I'll start with Ms. Wiley.
Thank you. I do think it's real important to represent the residents of District 6. Basically, it's like the Travis School District, and the prior council just said, the school district. So I want to know that there's 2 school districts and we are part of that. We have a lot of new building here, and I think that people don't understand all the impacts from the expansion. I want to work with this district, but I understand as a council member, I represent the whole city, and that's why we had a 7-hour meeting last night. Thanks.
Dr. Chapman.
Will you repeat the question, please?
Yes, I briefly provided an overview of Vacaville being a general law city. And just based on that understanding, and if you were afforded the opportunity to be a member of this Vacaville City Council, what would your duties and responsibilities be as you understand them?
As I understand them, the council is primarily the legislative and the we look at the zoning, the legislativeness of the city. We look at economic development. We represent and speak for the residents of the city. We are the ears, we are their voice. So to separate the powers or
Your time has ended.
Thank you.
Thank you. 30 seconds is going by pretty quickly. So we'll go on to our next question. And the focus of this question is really to get your understanding of the nexus between city government and career pathways. So Vacaville is one of the fastest growing cities in the nation and has become home to some of the largest and most successful life science companies in the world, including Genentech.
Yes.
City officials often say that there is a separation between their responsibilities and education. However, more and more government leaders understand the nexus between improving schools to prepare residents for local job opportunities. Can you explain ways that you and your colleagues can collaborate with school officials to build a robust and diversified career pathway for Vacaville residents? I'll start with Dr. Chapman.
Thank you. Great question. I'm presently on the Solano Community College Governing Board, and the city and the college we have an MOU to develop like a biotech hub here in Vacaville, and that bringing that into play, that's part of economic development, and that is also a means of bringing bringing jobs in that will provide livable wages. I know my 30 seconds.
Your 30 seconds.
But 30 seconds didn't allow you enough time. But anyway, I think I did.
Ms. Wiley?
I think it's essential that all students know that every student has the ability to make a different pathway, that you can't just slot people, oh, you're going to be here and you're going to be here. I think kids need to know from the get-go, here's some different choices. And apprenticeship programs are wonderful. I feel like there was a trip where the trades came and presented information. So people need to see what's out there. And there is a big collaboration between the college and the things. So education is key, and our schools are so important that kids all need to know they have all the opportunity to succeed.
Thank you. So our next question is about your senior residents. So seniors over the age of 60 are the fastest growing population and are often overlooked in policy decisions, including access to transportation, healthcare, affordable housing, as well as isolation. These are issues facing our seniors currently. In addition, Black women over the age of 60 are the fastest growing homeless population. As an elected official, how would you address these quality of life issues when developing policy? Ms. Wiley, I'll start with you.
The first thing is to talk to people and find out what they are lacking, what they need, and how we can fill that spot. I was knocking doors this week and a woman asked me, well, how can you help me? I'm a senior and I need help. I want to help with the housing issue. And there's kind of a shared housing program that San Diego have that I would like to look into. We have voted to approve 2 senior housing things as a council member, but I think just programs through the city and finding out what the need is. And I agree that health issues and community things, so people
time
feel like
has
they're
ended.
part of a group. Thank you.
Dr. Wiley, excuse me, Dr. Chapman, I'm sorry.
Yes. Baby boomers, yes, the seniors, we are the greatest population sector of the population right now. It would be critical to have a social services division within the city, which Vacaville does have. We would need to do regular assessments. We would again need to hear, listen, give them a venue, an opportunity, a means in which to stay connected. However, we can't leave it all to them. We also have, when it comes time to passing taxes, which I
The 30 second has ended.
Thank you. So this next question is really going to assess how you will engage African-American women in your district. So many African-American women-based organizations in Solano County work to empower Black women and develop them into leaders. BWOPA being one of them, as well as Delta Sigma Theta Sorority Incorporated being another of many others. If elected, how will you engage Black women as leaders, advisors, and change makers when it comes to your public policy decisions? Dr. Chapman?
Thank you. With diversity, inclusion, and equity on everyone's mind today, I don't want that just to be on the mind. We have to actually take action there. Bring people, Black women to the table. I'm aware that there is a group, and it is a growing group of Black business entrepreneurs, or yes, entrepreneurs in the area, and they need the support. They need the support the same as all our other small business owners. So the
The time has
resources.
ended.
Ms. Wiley.
I think it's really important to be in different groups. I'm in the Democratic Central Committee, also in the Northern Club, and I've met a lot of very successful Black women that I work with throughout those venues. And then that puts you in the path of a lot of other people as well. And the Black Chamber of Commerce, being involved with those people as well, and just trying to bring business and bring people into leadership so they can spread their information and wealth, because there's so much that we can learn and work together. And through
The time has ended.
Commission on Women and Girls.
Thank you both. I'm going to go off script just a bit and allow each of you to give a 1-minute closing. So timekeepers, if you can please reset your clock, and I will start with Ms. Wiley. Just give you 1 minute to provide any closing statements you'd like to make.
Thank you very much for the opportunity to talk to you today. It's very difficult to try to be coherent when you're under the time, but I really appreciate being able to just be here. And thank you for your involvement in the political process, because that's what we need. We need to have everyone involved. And I hope that this election will bring people out like never before. I feel like I'm the best person for this position. That's why I'm running. And I have support of a lot of people who I can call on when I say, well, what about this? Or what do you think about this? Or share your ideas about this, because I do feel like Vacaville has not really listened too much to women, and Vacaville has not really listened too much to Black women either, or other people of color. I've been involved with, Vacaville's People Forum, the Pride Day, the Black History. All those are making inroads into letting people see how success looks differently than some people's minds think success is. I also feel like it's so important to be involved.
Thank you. Dr. Chapman. You're on mute.
Thank you. Sorry about that. To the viewing audience, I have heard from many of you, and in order to continue the improvements to the area, I will meet and confer with you so it will be the desired changes of and by the people. In the meanwhile, I would greatly appreciate you marking your ballot for Sarah Chapman, a candidate who listens. Thank you.
Thank you both very much for your time this evening. We appreciate you sharing your time, talents, and gifts with us. Good evening, everyone. Next up, we have Nancy Dunn, who is a Vacaville Unified School District candidate for Trustee Area 1. Welcome.
Thank you very much.
So first of all, to provide our viewers with an overview, the role of a school board trustee is, I'm sorry, Tiffany, I'm sorry. I'm going to reset myself. I forgot to give her intro. So I'm just I'm gonna pause and then I'll start over.
You did that just to make me feel comfortable, I know.
Yeah. Okay. Good evening. And next we have Nancy Dunn, who is a Vacaville Unified School District candidate for Trustee Area 1. Good evening, Nancy.
Good evening.
I will go ahead and have you start with providing a 2-minute overview to introduce yourself to everyone watching this evening.
Great. Well, thank you and good evening. I am Nancy Dunn, and I'm very excited to be invited to participate in this forum. I am a candidate for the Vacaville School Board Area 1. While I am a first-time candidate, I have a long history of working as a teacher in the Fairfield-Sassoon Unified School District for the past 25 years. The last 6 years, I have been honored to be the union president of Fairfield-Sassoon Unified Teachers Association. I've lived in Vacaville for the past 25 years after moving from Southern California to Yolo County to complete my master's degree at UC Davis. Prior to becoming a teacher, I worked in the private sector and I served on the board of directors for the Sexual Assault and Domestic Violence Center. With my background in education, the private sector, and community service, I am well qualified to be a school board member in Vacaville. When elected, I will be the only school board member with experience in our schools, which is an important voice to add to the decision-making process. My 4 priorities are ensuring relevant curriculum, attracting and retaining the best educators and support personnel, inclusive decision-making, and community partnerships. My goal is to expand the definition of student success, and this will be achieved by focusing on students' needs and ensuring all community voices are factored into district policies. I have a proven track record as a champion of public education, and I see my candidacy for the school board in Vacaville to be the next step in continuing this passion. Vacaville Public Schools must be safe, inclusive spaces for all students. They must be reflective of and responsive to every aspect of the community, with students at the center of everything we do.
Thank you so much. And just to provide some background to those watching, the role of a school board trustee is to ensure fiscal, administrative, and educational accountability and provide community leadership as advocates for children, for the district and public schools. You mentioned a little bit about your priorities as a school board trustee. Can you elaborate a little bit more on how you plan to execute your priorities?
Absolutely. I think it's important to also add that a job of a school board member is to build coalitions, because no school board member as an individual can or should be the sole decision maker. It takes a majority of the board to make policies, enforce policies. And so therefore, an important aspect that I bring to the school board is skills in both collaboration, coalition building, and communication.
Thank you. So according to the California Department of Education, African American or Black K through 12 students in Solano County have the highest suspension rate at 13.8%, nearly 2.4 times the county rate and 3 times the rate of white students. And according to a report entitled, quote, "Get Out, Black Male Suspensions in California Public Schools," end quote, Black males in foster care have the highest suspension rate in California. The report also found that the disparity in suspension rates, found disparity in the suspension rate among Black male students compared to all students is greatest in kindergarten through 3rd grade. If elected, what is your plan to address these alarming suspension statistics?
First of all, I think it is very important that our school staff, personnel, teachers, district office personnel, administrators, all be trained and implement restorative justice practices. There are much more important ways to address concerns than suspension. And we need to keep our kids in school and realize that a lot of times suspensions result or behaviors result from other problems, and that we need to address those problems before it even comes to
time has ended.
suspension.
Thank you. So some of the duties of a Board of Education trustee are budgetary, such as approving the annual budget of the superintendent of schools. Since the pandemic, school districts have faced severe staff shortages, high absenteeism rates, rolling school closures, and scarce resources. What budgetary experience do you have that will benefit you as an effective trustee?
So as I mentioned, I have worked very closely with the Fairfield-Sassoon School Board as the president of the Teachers Association. I also have a background in the private sector and have served on a board of directors. So I understand the importance of fiscal responsibility, and I understand how to read a budget. And also to the other point that you mentioned, I think it's important that we realize there are a lot of dollars and resources coming into districts these days, but what we need to do is make sure that they are spent.
Your time
on
has
students.
ended.
Thank you. Well, we've quickly come to the end of our question and answer period, so I will give you 1 minute just to provide any closing thoughts, to close the loop on anything that you didn't have an opportunity to do. And we'll go ahead and begin your closing thoughts now.
Well, thank you. And man, those 30 seconds go by quickly, especially when you're a teacher. So, but I do want to take what time I have left to thank the Delta Sigma Theta sorority for hosting this forum. It has been my pleasure to share my goals and reasons for believing I am the best candidate for Vacaville Unified School Board Area 1. If anyone would like more information and more expanded answers than I was able to give today, I can be found on social media at Nancy Dunn, the number 4, VUSD trustee. And I'm going to close by saying that I really hope and urge everyone to go out and vote on or before November 8th. It is really important that we have a high turnout for this election up and down the ballot. Thank you so much for this opportunity this evening.
And thank you so much for joining us. Have a great evening.
Thank you.
And welcome back. Next up, we have Wanda Williams, who is a candidate for Solano County Board of Supervisors. Good evening, Wanda. We'll open up with your opening statements and background.
Well, thank you so much. And again, I want to thank BWOPA and Delta as well for this opportunity to come before you. But as already shared, I'm Wanda Williams. I'm running for Solano County Supervisor District 3. I'm currently the council member in Sassoon City and former Mayor Pro Tem. Just want to share a little bit about myself. I've been married to my husband for over 30 years. I'm a mother of 3 amazing children, a graduate from UC Davis, and I'm also a member of BWOPA. I actually chair the membership committee. So it's just a great opportunity to be here before you today and to share with you why I'm running for county supervisor.
Thank you so much. So we'll start with our just providing our viewers with a quick overview. So the county provides countywide services such as elections, jails, vital records, property records, tax collection, public health, and social services. In addition, the county serves as the local government for all unincorporated areas. The 5-member Board of Supervisors are elected by the public. So, Ms. Williams, what are your top 3 priorities for your district if you were to be elected?
Well, my top 3 priorities really focus first and foremost on homelessness. As we know, that is an issue not just in District 3, but throughout all of Solano County. So my goal is really to approach this with a regional approach, working with all the different cities as well, and with an emphasis and focus on mental health services. And as you've already mentioned, that as Board of Soups, you are responsible for mental health and health and human services. And so I know that it
Time
has
has
been.
ended.
Thank you.
Thank you. So, seniors age 60 and over are the fastest growing population and are often overlooked in policy decisions, which include things, for example, like access to transportation, healthcare, affordable housing, and currently facing isolation. In addition, Black women over the age of 60 are the fastest growing homeless population. As an elected official, how would you address these quality of life issues for seniors when developing policy?
Well, first and foremost, workforce housing and housing for seniors, even people with disabilities, is very important. That's something we have to work on and improve in the county. And that's one of my top priorities, is improving our housing stock and affordable housing for all. So my goal is to make sure that all our seniors' needs are being met and making sure that we're providing funding for an aging population through the county service.
Time was ended.
Thank you. Black women have not had a voice on the Solano County Board of Supervisors. Therefore, the concerns of African American women and their families are ignored when policy is crafted. How will you work to ensure that African American women have representation at the table?
Well, being the first woman elected to, first Black woman elected to the Board of Supervisors after November 8th, I will be that representation as a Black woman, but also making sure that I'm working with other agencies that actually address concerns that African American women have, such as BWOPA, Deltas, and other organizations that focus on the needs of Black women, and making sure that their voices are being heard at the Board
Time
of
has ended.
Supervisors.
And one last question. So Solano County has a diverse racial and ethnic population. However, it is another story when it comes to sharing the wealth. Many people of color and seniors experience disproportionate poverty, poor quality education, homelessness, as we talked about before, and lack of mobility and lack of access to transportation. How will you address the concerns of these populations should you be elected to office?
The first thing I really want to do is create what I call the Belonging Commission. That commission will actually be working with all different diversity groups, and we will be looking at the intersectionality of all the different concerns that we have and collectively working together to elevate the voices in Solano County to address our care and to improve best quality of life for all in this county. especially being one of the most diverse counties in the state of California.
Time has ended.
Thank you. And in closing, we just wanted to provide you an opportunity to provide 1 minute closing sentiments. You have the floor.
Well, thank you so much. And it's been an honor to be here before you today. Please remember on November 8th, take the time to please vote for Wanda Williams for Solano County Supervisor. Please visit my website, electwandawilliams.com. Your vote is very important and it gives you an opportunity to also have a voice at the table. So please make sure you get out and vote this November 8th. Thank you again. And thank you, BWOPA and Deltas, for hosting this forum.
Thank you so much, Ms. Williams. Have a great evening. Good evening, and up next, we have the City of Fairfield. And with us, we have, for the Office of Mayor, we have Chauncey Banks. And for City Council, we have Kay Patrice Williams for District 1. We will start off with providing 2 minutes for each of you to provide your opening statement. And I will start, ladies first, with Ms. Williams.
Thank you so much for having me. My name is Kay Patrice Williams. I'm running for Fairfield City Council, and I'm just thrilled to be here, and I am thrilled to be running. I'm running on priorities that include homelessness and affordable housing and connecting local people to local jobs, high-paying jobs, living wage jobs. And so, I'm passionate about this because this is work that I've seen, that I've done myself over my years through law school and till today. Today, I'm a small business owner. I went from having, through the pandemic, hitting a low of $1, under $1 in my account, to today, I just hired employee number 14. I did this by drawing down funds, government funds, federal funds, to impact the government. I'm sorry, and to impact the community. So I get to do that, and I see the translation in doing the same thing as a city council member. That's why I feel like my experience and my qualifications lend us to this moment where I can run and really hit the ground running, making an impact. Some of my endorsements, well, I'm known as a collaborator. I've collaborated with many. I do hard work, but I get it done together with groups and with organizations. And I think that's why I have such a clean sweep of endorsements that include Fairfield Fire, Fairfield Police. It includes labor and trade. It includes Congressman John Garamendi, Senator Bill Dodd, Assemblymember Lori Wilson, and so many others. Actually, 14 organizations and 48 individuals and neighbors have all endorsed me. You can find out more about me on my website, www.kpatrice4fairfield.com. I look forward to this conversation and hope to earn your vote.
Time has ended.
Thank you. Mr. Banks.
Yes, thank you. Thank you for this meeting. Appreciate it. My name is Chauncey Banks. I'm from Fairfield, California. My father was stationed at Travis Air Force Base. I'm 56 years old, 56 with 5 daughters, 3 boys, and 4 granddaughters. And so I just want to let the people know I'm family oriented. I did raise my kids. I did battle some of them in court. I just want to open that up, and I got the custody of my kids. I'm a humble man. I'm from Fairfield. The city chose me. A lot of people were saying that I know the city so well. And so a lot of people kept coming into my business called the Funky Chicken. I reopened the Funky Chicken after 19 years. The store is 25 years old. So after 19 years, I reopened the Funky Chicken. Funky Chicken was an urban hip hop store where I had CDs and tapes and records back in those days before the online music. And so I had brought a lot of celebrities to my store. I brought in from an E40, local artists from San Francisco, right out of our backyard. I created this group called the Federation with my good friend Rick Rock and Dooney Baby. under Mike Mosley. And so these groups came up from the entrance of my store to a record deal to traveling the world. And so I have a piece of that history that walks with me from the city. Within that point, I say the kids today from back then, they're between 29 and 40. And so they was in high school and they was in junior high back then. Today, they're adults with kids. So now I'm looking after their kids in my store here in Fairfield Mall. And so the beauty about who I am and what I'm doing is that the people chose me. I look at it, for some purposes that the mayor been there for over 20 years. I believe we need some changes. We did some homework, only 1% growth. We would like to see something to where families could do things together from Fairfield. Like a lot of them say the skating rink and the bowling alley. So we could take some of the kids, that's more kids in the house than
Time
out.
has ended.
Thank you.
Thank you so much. And I see we have candidate for Fairfield City Council District 5, Doris Panduro. If you would not mind coming on camera and providing just a brief 2-minute introduction of yourself and just your background, that would be great.
Good evening. So I was at a meet and greet and I had to log on through my phone. So I am on the phone. I just got home, so I was trying to log on via my computer. So if you want to wait for me,
No, go ahead.
logging on.
Go ahead. We're live.
Okay. Oh, go ahead. Okay. Good evening, everyone. My name is Doris Panduro, and I am running for Fairfield City Council to represent District 5. And I was elected for 2 years back in 2020. So I am running to have a full 4-year term to represent this area. I was born and raised in the city of Fairfield. I am fully invested in this community. My parents still live in the childhood home I was raised in. My nephews go to FSUSD. I have been working on the issues that are top of mind to many of us, such as homelessness, affordable housing, and investing in our youth. Those are the top 3 things that I have been working on the last 2 years, and that I hope to continue to work on when elected for another 4-year term on the Fairfield City Council. With regards to homelessness, I do sit on the regional 2x2 committee, and we've been working on homelessness issues, not just as a city, but an original approach with every city now at the table along with the county, which is really exciting. I feel like we're really going to have time. We're going to have a lot of great movement with regards to finding innovative solutions within the area of homelessness. With regards to affordable housing, we have 2 new affordable housing projects coming into District 5. One is currently being built off of Sunset, and the other one is we're trying to garner the rest of the funding needed to start building it. And then with regards to youth, we have the PAL Center has been relocated to the old skating rink building off of North Texas. So we are currently building, rehabbing it right now so the kids can have a brand new and beautiful place to call their own. And then on the corner of East Tabor and Texas, we are getting a brand new park facility. At that park facility, we will have a community center, and in that community center, we will be having a First 5. So we are really excited for all these great things coming to the city of Fairfield and to District 5. And I just look forward to being able to continue that.
Thank you. So just to provide an overview for our viewers, the City of Fairfield 2022 Federal and State Legislative Platform establishes the city's priorities. It advocates to state and county legislative representatives where the city needs additional help. The priorities identified are affordable housing and homelessness resources, infrastructure funding, and preserving local control and decision-making authority. Please choose from one of those priorities that I've mentioned and share how you will advocate on behalf of the residents and City of Fairfield if elected to mayor or city council. Mr. Banks, I'll start with you.
Okay, I'm gonna choose homelessness. My view on it, I've been kind of like studying it. I've been hearing the panel speak on homeless. I hear people get very angry and constantly saying drugs and all these different things about the homeless. So Spirit, I prayed on it, and here's the purpose of how I see it. I asked people if they pretty much have they fed the homeless. They say yes. And then I asked them if they gave them food. They say yes. So I went out there to talk to a homeless. I went out there, talked to the homeless. He
Time
was,
has ended.
uh-oh.
Thank you. 30 seconds goes by fast. Next,
Oh, all right.
Ms. Williams.
Thank you. So both are there are two issues that ring to the top: affordable housing and homelessness. And I have a background in both. I believe, in short, in the 30 seconds, is there are funds out there that we can draw down on both the federal and the state level and the county level that can make an impact on both of those areas. We just have to tap into it.
Thank you. Ms. Panduro.
Thank you. I will focus on homelessness. And so as I just shared, I do sit on the 2x2 regional committee, which is more formally known as CAP Solano. I have been on this committee for the last year and a half, and I was probably one of the core groups of that. And so like I said earlier, this allows the county and the cities to be one voice when it comes to leveraging funding at the state and federal level. And this is going to be really key in being able to provide solutions for homelessness, not just in Fairfield, but across the county. So this is the focus, and we're all on the same page. We're going to be one voice, and we're going to end it. Thank you.
Thank you. So our next questions are around our senior population. So seniors ages 60 and over are the fastest growing population and are often overlooked in policy decisions, which include access to transportation, healthcare, affordable housing, and isolation, quite frankly. Many of our seniors are facing that currently. In addition, Black women over the ages of 60 are the fastest growing homeless population. So as an elected official, how would you address these quality of life issues when developing policy? Ms. Pandora, I'll start with you.
Thank you for the question. I think for me, it's about having those lines of communication open and being accessible. I've been attending events over at our ARC Center, and I will continue to do so. So it's really building those key connections with those key leaders in our group within that population to truly understand, because obviously I'm not in that population, but I can have that conversation, I can have that discussion, and I can just be open and accessible and be able to hear what those needs are. Thank you.
Thank you. Ms. Williams?
I'm really happy to hear this question. I am the founder of BWOPA, the Napa Solano chapter. And our first meeting, we got together and we said, what are the top issues facing Black women? And one of those were homelessness. So the fact that we are talking about it, yes, I will be the voice at the table to bring that lens of equity and thought to everything. I'm 52. I will be 60 in just a few short years. So this is a population that affects me. I see it. I know those numbers are going up. We hear
Time has ended.
Thank you.
Mr. Banks.
Yes. So the issues, honestly, I haven't seen it. I do have my mother in my home. She's 75 years old. She's been gone for 30 years, and I asked her to come back home. So a lot of different things I'm doing. A lot of them don't understand like the technology part of it. So I'm helping my mother learn the technology part. I know with the transportation, they don't have credit cards, so it's a lot of different things. So I believe we have to just probably commit to more of a getting the city together and getting some friends and family around to help with the transportation, coming to the home, not necessarily renting out the bedrooms and stuff like that. But I believe this city is pretty much circled around friends and family.
Time has ended.
Thank you.
Thank you. So we're going to switch gears and talk about economic development. So as you know, inflation rates have reached heights not seen since the late 1980s due to the geopolitical issues touched off by Russia's invasion of Ukraine and the rising cost to consumers for food and gas prices exceeding well over $6 per gallon. What are your strategies for outreach to attract businesses and opportunities for job creation in Fairfield? Mr. Banks, I'll start with you.
Thank you. Yes, I'm here in the mall, and a lot of things I've been putting on the table is based on pop-up shops for online, help people come into from offline, from online to the stores to we can rent out a space and show their business. The rent has been cheaper here, so I've been bringing in little pop-up shops and helping them promote their business. But they've been helping me also based on from the online to let them know that where my location is. So I've been getting a lot more traffic coming in from that point of it. And that's what's been helping me out. And then I was saying the same thing for downtown Fairfield to where they could have these pop-up shops. The mall is more safer. Thank you.
Ms. Williams?
I'm a small business owner. And so this is something that I've put a lot of thought into. I actually think that we need a Fairfield entrepreneurship hub that will not only build and drive business up for small businesses, revenue up, but also virtually and in person. And I just worked with another city, Bakersville, that did exactly the same thing. And seeing that uptick, we can do the same thing in Fairfield.
Thank you. Ms. Panduro?
Thank you. I am the past president of the Solano Hispanic Chamber of Commerce and a current board member, and I have been actively involved with the business community for quite some time. And I've also been currently the last 2 years really engaged with the North Texas Business Street Association. And so for me, it's about, again, just for our local businesses, finding whether it's state, local, federal, and just being that voice for them and knowing that they can come to you. And that's always been my thing when working with businesses, is having them understand who I am and how I can help them, and just making those relationships so they can come to you and feel comfortable coming, because it is important. Our local businesses or small businesses are the backbone of the community. Thank you.
Thank you. So we've asked all of our prepared questions, and we want to provide an opportunity, a brief opportunity for you to provide any closing statements that you'd like to make. You have 1 minute, and I'll start again with Ms. Panduro.
Thank you so much. It's just been I'm so grateful for this space to be able to share a little bit about me and myself and my campaign. It's always an honor to be able to be a part of a community that, where we can leverage and each other's needs and concerns to help each other grow into a better community. So again, thank you so much for this time. And I really look forward to being able to, have your support and then, work with you in the future on things to make our community better. Thank you.
Thank you. Ms. Williams?
My name is Kay Patrice Williams. I'm running for Fairfield City Council, and ballots are in our mailbox. And right now, not a whole lot of people are returning them. So what we need you to do, if you are at the sound of our voice, you need to complete that ballot and also talk to 10 other people. Talk to your neighbors, talk to your friends, and tell them to complete that ballot. If you are in Cordelia, Green Valley, that's where I am, I need your vote. Can you please tell your friends and family to complete the ballot, return them? The stamp, the pre-stamp is free. To learn more about me, Kay Patrice, because it's been, those 30 seconds were killing me, www.kpatrice4fairfield.com to learn more about me and my priorities. You can also reach me at all the social media channels. I am Kay Patrice. I answer questions. You can send me questions. I'll give you detailed answers of what I think. I want your vote because I think I can hit the ground running. Thank you.
Thank you. Mr. Banks?
On and running. Here we go. Homeless. I'm coming back to that. Homeless is in the street. I had people raise their hand asking them if they fed them or if they gave them any money. I say this though, we are enabling them. We are giving them the money and we are feeding them at the same time. We are very charitable. But if we could stop doing that, put some signs up for not panhandling and all that stuff like that, is really not for the homeless, it's for us. Because what we're doing is that we're giving them the activity to buy the drugs, and the drugs is like $10. So I seen a lady give this one homeless like $5. And then that's really answered the question right there, that's where it's coming from. And the homeless is in places where the money is being dropped at. So if we can stop doing that, and then at the same time, send them to the shelters where they're gonna feed them, where the bed's at, the commercial kitchens, and the hospitality is there. So we are enabling them. That's my pitch for what I've been telling everybody. And I don't know if everybody understand it, is what I'm saying is the nickels, the dimes, and the pennies, we give them good food, and they don't have to be hungry. But at the same time, if we stop feeding them, starvation is another thing that they could go to the shelter, and that's where they get.
Your time has ended.
Thank you.
Thank you so much to the three of you for giving us the gift of your time to share with our community and those voters who may be undecided to have the opportunity to hear from you. Have a great evening. And we're back. Next up, we have Jack Flynn, who is a candidate for Fairfield Unified School District, Area 5. Welcome, Mr. Flynn. Thank you so much for joining us.
Thank you so much. It's my pleasure to be here.
Great. And we'll open the floor with having you provide a brief opening statements.
Hi, everyone. My name is Jack Flynn. I'm running for the Fairfield Sassoon Unified School District Governing Board. When I was 12 years old, I was very short, my voice was a lot higher. I got involved in politics because I wanted to make a difference in the lives of the members of our community. I got involved with our local Democratic Central Committee. Even though I was much under 18, I wanted to make a real difference. And I really saw the need for some good change, both at the state, national, and local level. I decided to run for school board because I think that we need leaders in our community who listen to the students, teachers, parents, educators, and school employees in our district. I'm proud to be endorsed by our local educational partners like our Fairfield Sassoon Unified Teachers Association, our CTA affiliate, the California School Employees Association, Chapter 302, the Napa Solano Central Labor Council, the Solano County Democratic Central Committee, 4 Democratic clubs, and our local students and parents as well. I'm running because I want to make sure we have good quality public schools, career technical education, art and music programs, smaller class sizes, making sure that we attract and retain the very best teachers by providing them with meaningful salary increases, good working conditions, and making sure that we keep them. We want to, again, get the best teachers in our district, but then also keep them because we want them to be staying here for decades so they can provide their service to our kids. I really want to make sure that we have project labor agreements for all labor projects. I want to support our workers. I want to support our building trades, making sure we have those pathways so that college is a great opportunity, but it's not just the only opportunity. I'm proud to have formed a diverse coalition of education reform advocates who are excited to see real change in the Fairfield Sassoon Unified School District. I would be honored to earn your support in the upcoming election, as I believe it's critical that we get leaders elected who support these priorities.
Thank you so much. And just an overview for our viewers, the role of the school board trustee is to ensure fiscal, administrative, and educational accountability, and to provide community leadership as advocates for children, the school district, and public schools. So, Mr. Flynn, if you could please just share a little bit more about your priorities and how you plan to address them if you were elected as a school board trustee.
Thank you so much. And as you said, the job of a school board member is to provide that fiscal direction. While being fiscally accountable, we need to make sure that we are investing our priorities. And as a school board member, I will have an input. That's why I've said one of my top inputs is paying our teachers more, listening to also our classified employees, and also making sure, again, we have smaller class sizes, career technical education, art and music table. I'm going to be a school board member who sees that fiscal responsibility as a very solemn role, who puts those important priorities as #1 on the table.
Thank you. According to the California Department of Education, African American or Black K-12 students in Solano County have the highest suspension rate at 13.8%, nearly 2.4 times the county rate and 3 times the rate of white students. And according to a report titled, quote, "Get Out, Black Male Suspensions in California Public Schools," end quote, Black males in foster care have the highest suspension rate in California. The report also found that the disparity in suspension rates among Black male students compared to all students is greatest in kindergarten through the 3rd grade. If elected, what is your plan to address these alarming suspension statistics?
Thank you so much. And I will say that this is not just a policy position, this is a crisis that needs to be addressed. And I said back in my Democratic Central point of view, I was very open to alternative ways of looking at discipline. And I think the best way to do that is to listen to our educational partners, listen to our students who are being impacted by this, look at the disparities, and find a way that we can get everyone together in the same room and be able to address that. I want to make a suspension and make sure that that system is revised so that everyone is listened to and no voice is left out.
Thank you. We talked a little bit about fiscal accountability, but some of the duties of the Board of Education trustee are budgetary, such as approving the annual budget of the superintendent of schools. And since the pandemic, school districts have faced severe staffing shortages, high absenteeism rates, rolling school closures, and very scarce resources. What budgetary experience do you have that will benefit you as an effective trustee?
I served as a student trustee on the Solano Community College Board during COVID, and we had to manage how to deal with the response to COVID-19, also staying within our budgetary limitations. That's why I did approve. I was one of several voices to vote to approve a mask or test mandate, making sure that we build the new facilities while also keeping those bond limitations. And I'm that common sense person who can keep those limitations, make sure we do not go into receivership, while also making sure we push through some pretty good policies that will help our kids.
Thank you. Now you've quickly answered and within time our prepared questions, but I also wanted to provide an opportunity for you to provide any closing statements, and we'll allot 1 minute for those. You have the floor.
Well, thank you so much. It was such an honor to be before you today. I appreciate everything that your organization does to promote education and civic advocacy. You know, it's so important. Our democracy is at attack right now. And it's so important that we have organizations like yours that are doing the hard grassroots work and making sure citizens know what their options are on the ballot and know that they have a choice. And one of the reasons I ran is because we hadn't had a school board election in my area since 2011, since I was in 2nd grade. So I ran because I wanted to make sure that people in my area had a choice on the ballot, that they had an opportunity for change. And Eleanor Roosevelt, one of the people I look up to the most, said, you know, the future belongs to those who believe in the beauty of their dreams. I believe the beauty of the dreams of the Fairfield Student School District belongs in the students, the teachers, the parents, the school employees, and anyone who wants to make education better for our kids. And I believe I'm that candidate who can get real change done in the Fairfield Sustained Unified School District. Thank you so much for your time and attention this evening.
And thank you so much for joining us. We really appreciate your time, and good luck on November 8th.
Thank you so much. Have a good night.
And welcome back. So next up, we have our candidate for Suisun City Mayor, Ms. Alma Hernandez. Thank you so much for being with us this evening.
Thank you for having me. I'm excited to be here.
Great. And so we will just start off with having you provide just a brief introduction to everyone watching of who you are, and you have the floor.
Perfect. Thank you so much. Well, for everyone who's watching, my name is Alma Hernandez. I am running for Suisun City Mayor. I currently hold the position of Vice Mayor or Mayor Pro Tem in the city. This is a city that I love. I grew up in Suisun City. I was raised there since I was 7 years old and have grown to not only love the things that I'm working on in regards to being able to improve our community, but being able to connect with people that I care for very deeply. And through this journey of campaigning, it's giving me an opportunity to deepen those connections and listening to new stories. One of my favorite questions is around what would people like to improve about Suisun City? And as I ask this question to different members of our community, that answer varies so much. And this is one of the things that I've loved about taking new ideas and new needs for my community and being able to work on them as I continue to work for moving Suisun City forward. My background includes, I have a business degree, so I've worked with our small business community for a long time. I've mentored our youth at the Puente program, specifically at Solano Community College. And I sit in a variety of boards in our community, like the Solano Library Foundation, as well as in the past I served on the Solano Small Business Advisory Committee for the Solano Small Business Development Development Center. And so there's continuously an opportunity to support new initiatives that are coming in. And as I listen to the needs of my community, they include being able to work on beautifying and cleaning our city. Definitely the complexity of homelessness, housing as well, bringing local jobs to my community, addressing what the needs are for our communities and young professionals and working families. And at the same time, it's being able to increase revenues in our community, because revenues is what assists us in being able to pay for our fire department, our police department, our public works. So those are things that I'm working towards and being able to improve in Suisun City.
Your time has ended.
Thank you so much. So just to provide an overview to our viewers, Suisun City operates under the council-mayor form of governance, in which the residents elect members of the city council, and the city council hires the city manager to implement city council policy and run day-to-day affairs. In the city's strategic plan, residents call for more diversity in staffing that is representative of the community. Ms. Hernandez, in your role as mayor, how would you ensure that the city hires staff that reflects the diversity of Suisun City?
It's an excellent question, because that's something we've been working on. And it has to do with how we hire and where we post our hiring opportunities. And so that requires more work, and there is a lift in being able to place job opportunities and beyond just your typical locations, but really working with partner organizations that really can provide the opportunity and notification to diverse members of our community, and being transparent about it, understanding what the number of positions that we have, the current makeup of each department, and where there's opportunity for growth. Thank you.
Thank you. So let's talk climate change. Suisun City faces threats from a variety of climate-related issues, most notably flood risk from sea level rise and severe storms. The city has been recognized for its programs to curb greenhouse gases. Please explain how you will support the city's climate change goals.
Well, one of the things that I've been doing is working with and partnering with Sustainable Solano and the Bay Area Conservancy, as well, BCDC, and various other organizations. We just hosted a climate forum with our community members this past weekend to provide education and to provide opportunity to answer questions. So it also included the Seward District, a representative of that program as well, because they are also a partner with us in thinking strategically and also looking for additional funding sources to mitigate new solutions and designs. One of the things I was able to successfully—
Time has ended.
Thank you.
Thank you. Now let's talk a little bit about your senior population. Seniors over the age of 60 are the fastest growing population and are often overlooked in policy decisions, which include access to transportation, healthcare, affordable housing, and isolation, which are real issues that our seniors are facing today. In addition, Black women over the age of 60 are the fastest growing homeless population. As an elected official, how would you address this quality of life issue when developing policy?
One of the things we need to be aware of is also in our senior population, their economic ability is also reduced because the ability to work sometimes, or the amount of money is a challenge for them that they're working with, so limited budgets. So being able to address that and also other services like mobility services or different ways to provide access to resources that will reduce their utility bills or their rental assistance for many of our seniors in general. And health. So health is another area of work to do. Thank you.
Thank you. So Ms. Hernandez, many African-American women-based organizations in Solano County work to empower Black women and develop them into leaders. BWOPA being one, as well as Delta Sigma Theta Sorority Incorporated being another, amongst many within our county. If elected, how will you engage Black women as leaders, advisors, and change makers when it comes to your public policy decisions?
It's something I already do. So we have Black women who are small business owners in Suisun City. They're pastors, women of faith, and already community leaders. They're members of our some of our commissions in Suisun City. And so with that talent, we need to continue to grow and create stronger pipelines for opportunities, and to be able to listen in on the different needs that women of color, specifically Black women, see in the community. And that's a voice that needs to be heard, and also provide an opportunity for a platform. And my job is to ensure there's a platform there. Thank you.
Thank you. Now that was our final prepared question. So I do want to leave you an opportunity for 1 minute of closing remarks or statements. And you have the floor.
Thank you. Well, I really appreciated being able to be here, and it reemphasizes not only the desire for me to continue to work with partner organizations in the community, but also continue to work on exactly that last question that you asked. And it's something that stays with me all the time, because there is still more work to do. And my job is to continuously, as a community leader, especially in the role of mayor, is provide opportunities in other spaces in elected office to create that pipeline for other women to be able to grow in leadership, specifically in the elected office area as well. So that is an area that I continuously look to be able to see the women that I recognize here in this call, to be able to connect with, learn from, and continue to work together to be able to make that something that is seen as continuously vibrant in Suisun City. And as I do that work, also representative of all members of the community, from our seniors to our small business owners to our youth as well. And so this is definitely an area of work that I love. Thank you.
Thank you so very much. We truly appreciate you lending your time, your gifts, and your talents to being with us. And we wish you the best of luck on November 8th.
Thank you so much. I appreciate it. Have a good evening.
Hello, my name is Cassandra James, and I am running for Vallejo City Council in District 2. My core values are accountability, accessibility, and equity, as each is needed to be incorporated in any decision policy decision process. My priorities are to demonstrate responsive and reflective leadership, committing to community investment, reimagining public safety, and addressing housing and homelessness. My endorsements include groups Vote Mama, BWOPA, the Solano Napa chapter, Run for Something, a group dedicated to candidates under 40 years old, and also being a gun sense candidate as well. I also received the endorsements of SEIU 1021 and SEIU 2015, and our current Assembly member, Lori Wilson. It has been nearly 20 years since I first started in grassroots organizing and community advocacy, working with young women impacted by the criminal justice system, to now maintaining program budgets. As a mother who's worked in historically excluded communities throughout the Bay Area, and currently organizing with some of Vallejo community organizations, in addition to my own lived experience, it gives me the unique perspective. And it gives me the unique perspective to not only see the pitfalls in our current systems, but to be open and uplift community-focused solutions. But most importantly, doing the work with the facts. Currently, I am a civil service employee working as a community development specialist for the Office of Housing and Community Development in San Francisco. I do sit on the Housing and Community Development in Vallejo as well. I am a chartered member of the Sankofa Democratic Club and former Solano County Redistricting Advisory member. So again, I want to thank you so much for this opportunity to speak to you today. Thank you.
Thank you. Mr. Matulak, please provide your opening statement.
Good evening, Vallejo. Thank you to my near 100 endorsements from Vallejo officials, business organizations, the working class families of labor, along with all the individuals and community leaders throughout District 2 who support my vision to improve the Vallejo narrative. Thank you to the Vallejo Chamber of Commerce, Vice Mayor Verderaliga, Council members Meisner and Brown, along with past mayors in Tintley, Sampayan, and Vice Mayors Sunga, Malgapo, and Villanueva, along with prominent business advocates like Buck Camphausen, Tim Heemstra, Greg Shope, Oscar Ocampo, and Roberto Cortez, whose endorsements speak to my platform to improve our economic development. Thank you to the firefighters Local 1186, Vice President Gardner, Trustee Ubaldi, and trustee-elect Amboy from the Vallejo School Board, along with the Vallejo teachers and staff in District 2, whose endorsements highlight my ability to improve public safety. These public safety endorsements, along with the recommendations from the OIR report, raises our public safety abilities to a higher level. My 7+ years as a planning commissioner, 2-time chairperson, along with my social work advocacy in our Vallejo public schools, enables me to enhance our infrastructure and bring the much needed resources, services, and programs to Vallejo and District 2. It is these near 100 endorsements that speak proudly of my getting things done at City Hall and my tireless efforts meeting the people of District 2 that support my message to improve Vallejo that allowed me to display my near 400 campaign signs, which shows that the people of District 2 are voting for me to continue my bridge building across all cultures, ethnicities, and socioeconomic boundaries to bring all voices together in leading Vallejo's future now. Please see my vision and endorsements at jrmatulak.com, and thank you for your vote.
Thank you. Next, we'll have Mr. Monroe.
Thank you so much for the opportunity. Can you hear me? Thank you. Good evening. I'm running for Vallejo City Council District 5 because Vallejo needs a council member that is honest, has integrity, and is transparent while promoting humanitarian efforts to help the city of Vallejo. My priorities include being a true public servant to Vallejo, being a transparent voice on the Vallejo City Council, working in the community with humanitarian efforts, cleaning and beautifying Vallejo, and progressively addressing our unhoused community's needs. Working with business owners to create jobs for our residents and youth jobs as well. Police reform is very important. I 100% support the new police oversight module. We are just moving forward with that. We're trying to make Vallejo a better city. You're looking at the candidate who is the community candidate. I'm the one out there working with the nonprofit groups, the religious groups, the community-based organizations to make sure that we're actually meeting the needs of our residents of Vallejo. And it's just been an honor. Police reform, economic development, planning, youth programming, all of these things are very essential to be aware of, not only as a candidate, but somebody who is seeking an elected office, that we actually continue to work even once elected or not elected, that we stay in this community, we continue to work, we continue to put in the work. It just can't be said enough. We got to continue putting in the work. And this is a very beautiful city. I humbly ask for BWOPA support and seeking your endorsement. And also speaking to all District 5 residents, vote for Dwight Monroe. Thank you.
Thank you so much. Next, we will have opening words from Ms. Tanya Hall. If you can come off mute and turn on your camera. I'm sorry, turn on your camera. I'm not sure if we have her. So in the interest of time, I will move us forward. So to provide an overview for our viewers, the city of Vallejo is a charter city, meaning it's governed by the home rule. This is the principle that a city, rather than the state, sees it's in the best position to know what the city needs and how to satisfy those needs. The elected officers of the city are the mayor and the 6 council members who are elected by districts. So with that background, I want to open our first question to each of you. You've given a lot of information in your opening statements, but can you share some of the specific challenges that you see in your district? And if elected, how will you address them? Mr. Monroe, I'll start with you.
Thank you for the question, Doctor. The main challenge that I see in District 5 truly is economic development. We have a lack of building. We have a lack of renovation. We have a lack of urgency regarding these things here in Vallejo. And economic development is going to be the #1 thriving thing that gets us out of this stagnation. We're currently just always saying no to everything. Currently, we need to move forward. And with economic development.
Time has ended.
Oh, thank you.
Thank you. Mr. Matulak.
My bad.
I see the need for more advocacy and more support within our community. We have great organizations out there that are feeding the homeless, that are doing things for the community. And if we can get more support within our own communities to help our organizations that are doing the hard work on the ground, that's something that would help with moving District 2, especially the areas like the Crest, over in Rancho, over in Cimarron Hills, and things of that nature, where if we get more people involved, that would get us over the hump and getting things more
The time
active.
has ended.
Thank you. Ms. James?
Yes, the challenges in my district is that it's been historically excluded from government processes and resources. Also, just like many districts, is grappling with being over-criminalized and the detrimental infrastructure and increasing houselessness. I would address the challenges through partnership and transparency. For instance, having district-based meetings for residents, including city staff from prospective departments, partnering with the organizations to learn how city can help provide more targeted resources and support, and requesting a timeline of plans to prioritize.
Your time has ended.
Sorry, thank you. 30 seconds is fast.
Yes, it is. Thank you. Moving along. Student test scores in Solano County, particularly in literacy and math, in our schools are low, with Vallejo having some of the lowest scores in the county. City elected officials often claim a separation between their responsibilities and education. However, more and more government leaders understand the nexus between improved schools and healthy communities. What are the two most significant issues affecting our schools in your jurisdiction, and how will you and your council colleagues collaborate with school officials to address those concerns? Ms. James, I'll start with you.
Okay. The two most significant issues affecting our schools in my district is funding and equity and achievement gap. I'll collaborate with council colleagues and school officials through the already established 2x2 subcommittee, but I'm wanting to take it further by having those meetings at the school so it could be accessible to parents, students, and faculty. Also advocating for the SB 830, which would allow a change to funding formulas to help underserved schools, such as the schools in my district. Thank you.
Thank you. Mr. Matulak.
Yes, working for the school district, I see this firsthand, is some of the biggest challenges we need and support we need are for mental health support. We work under a full service community model, and part of that is getting all the resources available. And what we've been lacking are a lot of those resources. So I'm a big proponent of things like wellness centers, social emotional learning, and things of that nature, where once we provide those resources, the academics follow, the improvement of academics will be able to follow where within, and that way we can, the students will be able to progress rapidly.
Time has ended.
Thank you.
Thank you. Mr. Monroe.
Thank you for your question. So to address the school system and the low scores, one thing that I think about a lot is public safety. And, we're dealing with a lot of school shootings as of late, and this doesn't do anything to help our students. This actually creates more of a harmful environment for them. So creating a sense of urgency to create a safe environment for our kids to learn. I don't have children yet, but in the future, creating that safe environment for our children to learn is going to give them the best foot forward to actually, creating this thriving leadership. Thank you.
Thank you. So we'll switch gears and talk a little bit about our senior population. So seniors over the age of 60 are the fastest growing population and are often overlooked in policy decisions, which include transportation, healthcare, affordable housing. and quite frankly, isolation, which has been occurring as a result of the pandemic. In addition, Black women over the ages of 60 are the fastest growing homeless population. As an elected official, how would you address these quality of life issues for seniors when developing public policy? Mr. Monroe, we'll start with you. Sorry.
Thank you for the question. I didn't want to mess up the spotlight. Seniors, we got to make sure that they're involved at every sense of discussion. I just went to Florence Douglas the other day, just doing some canvassing, and the reaction there, they were just playing bingo. But getting them more involved in our community, either by attending city council meetings, providing them with the Zoom links so that they can voice their concerns and opinions. Those are the things that's going to help us make sure that we're meeting the needs of our senior community, because they have to have a seat at the table. Thank you.
Thank you. Mr. Matulak.
Being in the social work profession, the critical thing to do is identify what the needs are for each individual. And this is where wraparound services, such as the navigation navigation center was intended to be. So it was disheartening to see how that program fell through, but providing these wraparound services, you're able to provide the support, whether they're senior or other resources for a complete family that would need to help support that family moving forward to be independent and be self-sufficient so they can have their own their quality of life sustained and be able to oh, thank you.
Thank you, Ms. Jones. Excuse me, Ms. James.
So, actually, I live in an intergenerational household with my grandmother. So I plan on addressing policy not only through lived experience, but through the most equitable lens. And this is, there's a guide in the healthcare field that's evidence-based that starts with the 4 M's, and it causes no harm and aligns with what matters most to our seniors and their families. It's called, it's what matters, mentation, mobility, and medication. But in this sense, it's ensuring the understanding of what matters specifically to community outcome goals and their preference, ensuring services are necessary, and creating senior safe space in local communities, and ensuring that our older adults can move safely throughout their community in order to
time has ended.
And how it matters. Thank you.
Thank you. So let's talk a little bit about economic development. Mr. Monroe talked a little bit about that in his opening statements early on. But as you know, inflation rates have reached heights not seen since the late 1980s due to geopolitical issues, starting off with Russia's invasion of the Ukraine and the rising costs of consumers for food and gas, with gas prices exceeding $6 per gallon. In this challenging economy, what is your plan to generate resources to address funding gaps to support new housing construction, road and street repair, and other services if you were to be elected? I'll start with Ms. James.
Okay, my plan to generate resources to address the funding gaps is supporting the local tax measure to establish an economic floor. Also working on being intentional and strategic and establishing partnerships and relationships with the State Housing and Community Development Department, the Workforce Department, businesses, union, school, etc. Also, Vallejo was included in Justice 40, an initiative to confront and address decades of underinvestment in disadvantaged communities, which is another revenue resource. And another example is the guaranteed income funding, which has been a proven success in a city that's similar to Vallejo. Thank you.
Thank you. Mr. Matulak.
Yes, I also am a proponent for the Measure P as an investment to bringing funding and resources to the city. I'm a big advocate of John Garamendi's plan to help support Mare Island, bringing more the money that he's going to be bringing through his Armed Forces Committee for the dry docks to make Mare Island once again a viable port to be able to support and fix boats and help our armed services with repairing ships and having it on the West Coast that'll increase the economy.
Thank you. Mr. Monroe.
Thank you for the question. Yes, so the way that I would address bringing resources to Vallejo, of course, I do, in fact, support Measure P as well. But one thing that I've learned very over the years is just creating these relationships with county supervisors. Somebody who that I've been in touch with, just in person. I've seen her a few times, and she's emphasized creating relationships. Miss Lori Wilson she's our gatekeeper. She had a story about a Vacaville Boys and Girls Club that needed some funding. She heard about it, acted on it, and got it done. So those are the type of things that we need to focus on, creating
time has
relationships
ended.
with people and moving forward.
Thank you. So homelessness, blight, and crime are serious issues impacting communities in Vallejo, especially African-American communities. If elected, how will you address homelessness? Mr. Monroe, I'll start with you.
Thank you. So to address homelessness, I like to think I'm already addressing homelessness by being hands-on, boots on the ground. I'm out there in the most undesirable areas, Couch Street, anywhere else where we need to clean up, Lewis Brown Parkway, all these different areas where it's just so undesirable. People are scared to get out there, but we got to be hands-on, and we got to go out there and be able to speak with people like they're individuals and not unhoused community members. These are people, we need to treat them with respect, and that's where it starts first.
Thank you. Mr. Matulak.
Yes, once again, with the homelessness, similar to the seniors, is identifying what the specific issues are for that individual. This is what we were taught in our social work, getting our social work degree, is once you're able to identify that, whether that's a mental health issue, whether that's a job placement, whether that's a medical issue, you want to identify what the root cause is and identify what support you're able to do. And that's where once again, the navigation system of wraparound services would help support those type of needs for that individual and potentially the whole family that may be homeless or living in their car to provide the shelter. Thank you.
Thank you. Ms. James?
So homelessness is very intersectional, and it will be to build on the homeless roundtable that currently exists in Vallejo. It would also be working with All Home to implement their regional action plan and their comprehensive 1-2-4 framework. The 1-2-4 framework is creating the 1 interim housing, the 2 flexible housing and subsidies, and 4 homeless prevention or eviction prevention. And there is opportunity to partner with the county and state to create all of these things, but also in particular, I will want to partner with private and public foundations to create an emergency rental assistance fund as a safety net. Thank you.
Thank you. So that was our last prepared question. So we now want to give you time again, just for any closing statements. That last word that you wish you could have gotten in that 30 seconds. So I'll start with Ms. James. You have 1 minute for your closing statement.
Okay. As a mother, it is imperative to step up and create the community we all deserve. Ever since I was a teenager, I have organized with the community to do what is right. Over the years, I have I have been honored to organize and collaborate with stakeholders, with community, to bring much needed resources to historically excluded communities, such as District 2. It was through those organizing efforts I learned how systemic inequities can limit communities and moving forward, but also understanding how to bring those better, to be better at bringing resources to the community. In addition, as the only woman in this race and as the only candidate that actually live in the crest, I'm not only talking about what is happening in the community, I am living it. And I will lead with these experiences, with my education, and with the professional experience as well. Again, thank you for your time. My name is Cassandra James, and I'm running for Vallejo City.
Thank you.
Thank you.
Mr. Monroe, your closing statements. You have the floor for 1 minute.
Thank you, BWOPA, for this opportunity and seeking your endorsement at this time. It's been truly a pleasure. I want to go ahead and say, as the community candidate, which I'm calling myself, the community candidate of District 5, you're talking about somebody who's proven that he's dedicated to this community, proven commitment to public service, transparency, and humanitarian efforts. Somebody who's at every city council meeting for the past 6.5 years, regular meetings and special meetings. You have to take the time out to be able to do this job. A lot of people, they don't have the time to do this job. And so it's very important to me that you actually have the time and resources to be able to do this job and to take advantage of, you know, the resources and all the educational information that you receive as an elected official, and put that information back out to the community. I like to think of myself as just a normal guy, but I also want to make sure that I'm a voice for people who are very much unheard in this
Time
city,
has ended.
working class people. Thank you.
Thank you. Mr. Matulak.
Thank you for the time. I would like to emphasize that I am the one candidate that has the most institutional knowledge of getting things done at City Hall, being a 7+ year planning commissioner, working with the city council, working with the current city manager, the assistant city manager, and also with the city attorney. I've done that for the past 3 or 4 years on the planning commission, where we had to move things forward through a lot of change in administration. So it's been a challenging thing. It's been a challenge to get a lot of projects moved forward through the lack of staffing and through my vision of changing the narrative of Vallejo that would hopefully make Vallejo the destination place once again, to where people would want to live and work here. And so from that, ask people to go to my website, jrmatulak.com, to look at my vision and look at all the endorsements that I've garnered, nearly 100 of them, that of the people that can speak to where my institutional knowledge would move Vallejo forward. Not only do I live, but I work.
Time has ended.
Thank you so very much. If I can have you just briefly all come on back on camera, I wanted to take this opportunity to thank the 3 of you for your time. It is greatly appreciated in this time where we have a lot of undecided voters in our city and county. And so thank you so much for being with us tonight. Thank you.
Thank you.
Thank you so much.
Thank you.
And welcome back. We have next up our candidate for the Vallejo City Unified School District, Trustee Area 5, Mr. Ajit Bandhal. Thank you so much for being with us this evening.
Can you see me?
Yes, I can. Thank you so much for being with us.
Good evening. This is Ajit Bandhal. I'm candidate for the Vallejo City Unified School District Area 5. And I believe the Vallejo City Unified School District Board Area 5, actually Unified School District Board, is in crisis right now, and it needs help. Now, the current strategies of the board members are not working, and it has to be tweaked, and it has to be changed. And I believe I am the change. I will bring the required change if I get elected. I have the required education and experience to bring that change. I was 15 years a teacher at different levels, at university level, college level, and K-12 level. I have also written a book on the education system, how to improve education system in the US. The book named STEM, The Future of America. Besides that, I have like 23 years, over 23 years public health experience for California Department of Public Health, where I ran a larger institution than this Vallejo Unified School District. We serviced over 1 million women and children, educating them for their health, and also how to restore a better health with nutrition. A program called WIC, W-I-C, Women, Infant, and Children. And if I get the opportunity for this election, I think I can bring the positive change to make this unified school district #1, not in the state, but rather in the nation, #1 in the nation. Thank you.
Thank you. So we'll just provide an overview for those watching that the role of the school board trustee is to ensure fiscal, administrative, and educational accountability and provide community leadership as advocates for children, the school district, and public schools. Mr. Bandhall, you've talked a little bit about your priorities, but please share a little bit more in the next 30 seconds about what would be your priorities as a school board trustee.
Sure. I want to bring preschool education, be integrated into the K-12 system. Also, I want to change the way the math instructions are given right now. I want to bring it interactive and the model similar to Japan model, because I wrote it in my book. It's understanding and innovative technique rather than problem solving, which is doing right now. I'm also proposing a increase in teacher salary so that they
Thank
can
you.
spend
Your time
more
has
time.
expired. So according to the California Department of Education, African American or Black K through 12 students in Solano County have the highest suspension rate at 13.8%, nearly 2.4 times the county rate and 3 times the rate of white students. And according to a report titled, quote, "Get Out, Black Male Suspensions in California Public Schools," end quote, Black males in foster care have the highest suspension rate in California. The report also found that the disparity in suspension rates among Black male students compared to all students is greatest in kindergarten through 3rd grade. If elected, what is your plan to address these alarming suspension statistics?
Sure. The first thing I would do is to make a strong team between teacher, parent, and the student. That will improve the attendance. It will also improve the graduation rate. Also, I will, as I mentioned before, bring the preschool education. Both these things will strengthen the reading and writing of the kids. And also the follow-up with this team so that we know where the
Your
kids
time
are.
has ended.
Thank you.
Thank you.
All children deserve a clear path to healthy adulthood and formal and natural support to help them get there. Ineffective socialization and education processes prepare young Black males for systemic disconnection from essential life milestones, such as high school graduation, post-secondary education, and employment. Also, zero tolerance policies that facilitate how urban school systems enforce punitive consequences for simple misconduct disproportionately impact Black males. What are your thoughts around how we can change ineffective education processes and their impacts on Black male students?
Sure. I will again make a strong team between student, teacher, and parent so that we know what the kids are doing. And at the same time, I will have a counselor at each level, elementary, middle, and high school, counselors who will actually identify the kids who need help and will go after individually to help them in the area wherever they need help. They may need help in health area, they may need help in,
Your time has
in
ended.
environmental area, and so on.
Thank you. Some of the duties of the Board of Education trustee are budgetary, such as approving the annual budget of the superintendent of schools. Since the pandemic, school districts have faced severe staff shortages, high absenteeism rates, rolling school closures, and scarce resources. What budgetary experience do you have that will benefit you as an effective trustee?
Sure. See, the way I work in my previous, when I was a director of the laboratory operation, I will look for each and every component of the program and try to improve the program. So I will raise the budget within by eliminating the overlapping, the redundancy, and the contracts. And there is a lot of, I think the money is there. We can raise the money from inside
time has
before we go to the
Thank you.
tax.
Thank you. So that ends our list of prepared questions. So Mr. Bandhall, I'd like to invite you for 1 minute to provide your closing statements, and you have the floor.
Sure. I'm appealing to the voters to help me to elect. If I get elected, I will bring a preschool education. I will make a strong team, as I mentioned before, more teachers, teacher incentives, then the school discipline, as well as the infrastructure of the school, and I will fix the budget problem as well. So if you're going to see a school #1 in the nation, not in the state, you vote for me. Thank you.
Thank you so very much, Mr. Bandhall. We truly appreciate you giving your time this evening to share with the voters a little bit about yourself, and we wish you the best of luck on November 8th.
Thank you very much.
Thank you. Good evening. And last but not least, we have our candidates for Benicia City Council. We have Carrie Birdseye and Terry Scott. Thank you so much for joining us this evening. We'd love to start off with giving each of you 2 minutes to give any opening statements that you would like to provide. And ladies first, we'll start with Ms. Birdseye.
Thank you so much. And it's also alphabetically correct to go with Birdseye. Good evening, and thank you so much for this opportunity to address all of your groups and all of your members. We really appreciate this last minute effort to educate voters, and I'm honored to be a part of it. My name is Carrie Birdseye. I'm running for Benicia City Council, and I hope that your Benicia members and your Benicia viewers can learn a little bit about the two of us this evening. I am a former journalist who now works at a nonprofit I work every day to protect communities and families against the effects of climate change and also from dirty industry. And so I have a communications background. I use that to help communicate the great work of our frontline community partners, and also of our nonprofit. Locally, I have been chair of the Planning Commission in Benicia for 5 years, and on the commission for 8 years, serving my community for 2 decades as I raised my children here in Benicia. I am running for city council because I have served with the city staff for, like I said, nearly a decade now, and I understand what it takes to make good decisions that are based on what our community needs. And right now, my priorities are diversifying our tax base, continuing my work on bringing housing opportunities to Benicia to alleviate the state's climate crisis right here in our community, and also access to clean air and clean. Is that 30 seconds?
Thank you. That was 2 minutes. Thank you.
Access to clean air and clean water is my last priority. Thank you.
Thank you. Mr. Scott.
Nope.
You're on mute.
Mute.
You're on mute, Mr. Scott.
There we go. How's that?
There you go. Great. Thank you.
Thank you. I'm Terry Scott, and I'm running for Benicia City Council. First off, I'd like to remind the group that I was endorsed by you in 2020 for Benicia City Council. And unfortunately, I lost by 126 votes. So I'm out there making sure that I collect every single vote that is out there. So why am I running? I'm running because I believe it's time for a leadership change in Benicia. And I think I speak for Carrie that we have seen a lot of change over the last couple of years that has not been really positive. And so it's not about past accomplishments. To me, it's about issues. It's about it's about solutions and not about accusations and divisiveness that we're starting to see. And it all ends up about having to find a way to stop being forced to play catch up. And we seem to always be playing catch up. So I'm a businessman, I'm a philanthropist, I'm a futurist, I'm father of 3 boys, grandfather of 1. I'm chairman of the Benicia Arts and Culture Commission, co-founder of the Benicia Diversity Festival, part of Benicia Strong, part of the Progressive Democrats. I'm watching the clock over here too. And I have support Measure K, the Urban Growth Boundary Line, and I support Measure R, the sales tax, to finally get something moving forward on our roads, because we cannot continue to utilize existing dollars in order to move forward. So that's who I am. And then hopefully down these 30 seconds clips, I'll be able to tell you a little bit more about myself and why I'm running.
Thank you so much. So just for our viewers to understand, Benicia is a general law city and operates under the council manager form of municipal government. The mayor and 4 city council members are elected by popular vote to 4-year terms. The city council appoints the city manager and city attorney. Mr. Scott, I'll start with you with our first question. What are the challenges in the city, and if elected, what will you do to address them?
Well, I think our first challenge is really understanding what our financial condition is. Our second challenge is being able to deal with that challenge and understanding what are the tools that we can put into place. We have to understand that there are state mandates that are unfunded and how we are going to deal with that. We have a significant housing issue in the community, and we need to be able to implement the housing element and make sure that housing that is affordable is brought forth into the community.
Thank you. Ms. Birdseye?
I think we need to bring trust of our leadership back into Benicia. There's a lot of mistrust right now. And so I pledge to be a transparent, honest leader that will represent everyone in Benicia. You know, everything that Terry just talked about, safer roads, you know, more air monitoring stations throughout our community. We're a refinery town. I want to improve our relationship with the refinery while understanding what's in our air, what's in our water, keeping water rates.
Your time has ended.
Thank you.
Thank you. So let's talk a little bit about the senior population in your community. Seniors over the age of 60 are the fastest growing population and are often overlooked in policy decisions, which include areas of transportation, healthcare, affordable housing, and as a result of the pandemic, isolation. A lot of our seniors are facing isolation. In addition to that, Black women over the age of 60 are the fastest growing homeless population. As an elected official, how would you address these quality of life issues for seniors when developing policy? Ms. Birdseye, I'll start with you.
Thank you for this important question. First of all, I would put an ad hoc committee together that would combine our various clubs and groups throughout our community that already concentrate on senior issues and make their recommendations a priority for our city. Over 20% of our population is over 65. A big chunk of it is right behind them. And so I think it's important to hear them and
thank you.
Make their issues a priority.
Mr. Scott?
Thank you. I am one. I live it every day. I also write about the silver tsunami and the millennial transition. The first thing that I think that we need to do, as Ms. Birdseye said, candidate Birdseye, is talk about creating a committee that reports directly to city council or has a city council member on there. Not only on the city council, but on Parks and Rec, looking at sidewalks, looking at handicap parking, looking at restrooms, looking at recreation, all the things that make up this community as we continue to gray and try to keep people more.
Your time has ended.
Thank you. Now let's talk economic development. As you know, inflation rates have reached heights not seen since the late 1980s due to geopolitical issues, starting off with Russia's invasion of Ukraine, as well as the rising costs to consumers for food and gas prices that in some areas are exceeding over $6 per gallon. In this challenging economy, what is your plan to generate resources to address funding gaps to support new housing construction, road and street repairs, and any other services that are needed in Benicia? Mr. Scott, I'll start with you.
Well, the first thing that I would do is start to hire a couple of grant writers. We don't need full-time people, but we need grant writers. There's a lot of money out there that'll enable us to start to really fuel economic development. Enhance the Benicia Industrial Park, make it much more green technology based, make it new technology based, and invest into that. In addition to that, create an economic development zone over First Street to build more sales tax that can be brought in and used for these programs to build housing, senior housing, as well as.
Time has ended.
Thank you, Ms. Birdseye.
Thank you. You know, our federal and state leadership has recently dedicated millions and billions at the federal level dollars for local jurisdictions to adapt to the climate change impacts, and the Inflation Reduction Act is there to help us build back our communities economically more sustainable. And so we need to be at the table when those funds are released. That's what the grant writers will do. And we need to be poised to get as much as we can when it comes down. Thank you.
Thank you. There are many African-American women-based organizations in Solano County that work to empower Black women and develop them into leaders. BWOPA being one, as well as Delta Sigma Theta Sorority Incorporated being another, amongst many others in this county. How will you engage African-American women-based organizations as leaders, advisors, and change makers to help support your public policy decisions when elected? Mr. Scott?
Well, first thing is that I don't believe in Benicia, and I hope I'm not wrong, but I don't believe that there is any Benicia-based major decision-making groups that we can tie into. And this is something that we need to understand. If I don't understand it, and I'm in politics and I'm trying to build a community, we need to understand where they are, what we can do to tap them. There's the Cure Commission, there's our new Equity and Diversity Manager that we can tap. There are a number of tools that we have, but at this point, I haven't seen groups that are stepping up into the Benicia ecosphere to say, these are the things that we can do.
Thank you. Ms. Birdseye?
Well, my first step is showing up here tonight and learning from your questions and, reaching out to your members. We do have Benicia Black Lives Matter in our town. They've been really a wonderful, powerful group that has educated our mainly white community on issues of structural racism, on the very fact that racism still exists in our community. And I would work with Benicia Black Lives Matter and groups like yours to ensure that
Time has ended.
My policy decisions are the right ones.
Thank you so very much. And I've quickly gone through our prepared questions, and I will transition to lending you the floor to provide any closing remarks that you may have. Ms. Birdseye, I'll start with you.
Thank you so much for this opportunity. I really appreciate it. First of all, I'll say that I have been campaigning for and supporting both Wanda Williams for Board of Supervisor District 3 and Cassandra James in Vallejo to be their next city council person there. I have taken extensive stand-up for racial justice training, and if elected, I will center the JEDI concept, justice, equity, diversity, and inclusion in every step that I make as a city leader. I work every day on myself to be a better ally and to understand what people of color in our community are going through and how the impacts that they are feeling that I'm not feeling. So that first and foremost. Then I'm going to turn to who's endorsed me from our U.S. representative, John Garamendi. I thank you.
Thank you. Mr. Scott.
Well, thank you. I did surge training, and also I cried to the first 30 pages of Just Us. I just couldn't put that book down and just couldn't get through it. But anyways, I think that, I had prepared comments, but I think the biggest key here is addressing fair housing, equity and equality in our community, attracting new families of color, promoting economic development and an opportunity for them to live in our community. And that's why I always say housing that is affordable, not affordable housing. Promoting economic development that provides jobs for all with a living wage for all. Ensuring that our water is clean and our air is clean. And one thing that is kind of perhaps off target, but ensuring that the reason why these two candidates, and there's another candidate that's not here, is that Beniceans should be electing Beniceans, and we shouldn't let the refinery have a candidate that's involved in this and be supportive of them. So I really believe that we represent what is the future of the—
Time has ended.
Thank you so much. Thank you so much to the both of you. We truly appreciate you giving up your time to share with our audience who may be undecided voters, to give them an opportunity to see you. Thank you so much for your time and have a good evening.
Thank you. Take care.
Thank you, everyone who has joined us, all of our candidates, and all of you for staying with us. Hopefully this has been an informative session. If you are an undecided voter, hopefully you've learned a little bit more about some of the candidates running across Solano County. And as always, we want to leave you with a call to action. So as you see on our screen, we provided a QR code that links to the California Secretary of State's office that has all the answers to any election questions you might have right at your fingertips. So please take a moment, take out your smartphone, and access that information on your screen. Also, if you have not viewed our past recording of Delta Sigma Theta Vallejo Alumni Chapter's Red Alert, the who, what, why, and where of district elections, you can access that using the QR code on the screen as well. Also wanted to provide a 1-minute explanation of Prop 1, which is a proposition that BWOPA Solano Napa chapter is supporting. We want to thank you so very much for joining us this evening. We hope that you learned a lot. We also want to thank all of the members of the Planning Committee from BWOPA, from Delta Sigma Theta Sorority Incorporated, Vallejo Alumni, and Solano Valley Alumni chapters. Have a great evening.